You're listening to the Wealth Mindset Show, where Hicks and Zerker Capital Management's team of finance professionals, portfolio managers, and a life coach come together to tackle complex topics in finance and retirement planning so you don't have to. From investment strategies and wealth management to tax planning, retirement income, and aligning your money with your values and purpose, the Wealth Mindset Show offers the tools to thrive.
All right. Hey. Welcome back to the Wealth Mindset Show, where the Hicks and Zerker team helps you manage wealth, navigate retirement, and make smart decisions for a secure, meaningful future. I'm Austin Wilson, Chief Investment Officer at Hicks and Zerker Capital Management.
I'm Josh Robb, Director of Wealth Management at Hicks and Zerker Capital Management. Joining us today is Jessica Hinks, a financial advisor at our firm and the author of a blog that we're going to talk about today that really focuses on dreams and turning them from dreams into reality.
But before we start there, number one, you should just pause, and if you're driving, pull over, please.
Yep.
Go subscribe to theeverydayadvisor.com.
Or
that's where this blog came
your phone
from.
next to somebody.
Yeah, there you go. But don't do this while you're driving.
Yeah.
Secondly, Jess, what's going on with your life?
Yeah. Anything?
I mean, it's spring, so we're doing, kindergarten screening.
Yes.
Trying to get stuff outside cleaned up if it stay warm. And I cannot wait.
Stay warm is the thing. It's hit
so
miss. You get one
bipolar.
good day, and then it's gone.
70 degrees down to 29 in like a day, one day.
There was a 40-degree
I can't
swing.
wait for outdoor work season, which is kind of what inspired the blog as well.
Absolutely. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, we're entering spring sports season. So for my family, you got softball, you got baseball, golf will be starting soon, and then volleyball is still going on.
Yep.
And so a lot of fun stuff, a lot of time outside, which again is a positive. So I'm out with the kids usually throwing a baseball or softball, and so it's good. Yeah,
that's good. And for us, it's spring stuff too. Our middle one's in baton, so she's doing that. Our oldest one's about to start Miracle League baseball again.
It is always fun.
Always a blast.
The announcer guy he's
great.
It's great. Does an awesome job.
So we'll be doing that again this year. But yeah, today we're going to talk about dreams, goals. Sometimes they're never achieved, and how really we should not let that happen, because we've got a lot of ways we can not let that happen. So Jess, just talk a little bit about why that is something that happens today when you're talking about dreams.
Well, why they don't get accomplished?
Yes.
I mean, there's a whole slew of reasons. I think a lot of times people just, don't even spend the time thinking about what they want their life to be.
Right.
They just kind of let life happen to them in a way. But I've just been giving a lot of thought to the fact that, I have this vision for what life could be, and literally no one is going to make it happen. Except me, right? Yep. And it all kind of came to light when I was thinking about the fact that, man, I wish I really had a weeping willow tree.
Yes.
I've always wanted one.
Yep.
Grew up in the 90s. Pocahontas was one of my favorite movies.
Now, yours probably won't talk.
Mine won't whip people, but I could use it to whip others, perhaps.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, why don't I just plant the darn thing? Right? And it just got me thinking about just turning goals into actual actions.
Because I think that's the first thing is dreams are internal. And so until you share or express them, no one else knows that you're trying to accomplish this.
Yeah, I don't think my own husband even knew I wanted a weeping willow tree, right? We'd been married for 10 years before we found out.
Right. I think that, like you said, Jess, a lot of people let life happen to them. And I think that that's a sad way to live life, right? Because you're reactive all the time instead of proactive. And my dad and I talk a lot about being a doer, not just a sayer. And then I think this goes into that. So like if you dream at 120%.
Yeah.
So that if you settle at like 90 or 80, you feel you still did better than most people. So that's kind of where we're going there. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons why dreams don't get accomplished. Some of those is quantifiable, right? Maybe some people are a little unrealistic if they do dream at 190%.
Yeah.
And that can happen too. And I think that can probably be discouraging at some point too, because it was just not realistic to begin with. But any thoughts on that?
Well, I've always heard there's no unrealistic dream or unrealistic goal, just an unrealistic deadline, right?
There you go.
You can dream
I like
190% as long as you give yourself good guidelines for sure. Everything's attainable.
Right.
But yeah, making something possible.
So what you're saying is just turn it into a plan still, too. If you have a large dream, just make sure you have actions in place that can get you there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, the someday, right? Because a lot of times your dream is, someday I'll get there, right? And you can start actions today to get that process moving.
Right.
And that's, I think, the thing if dreams don't start is you just don't ever sit down and say, what's the first step? Because, if your goal is to have a weeping willow tree
or $1 million in an IRA,
or $1 million in an IRA, what do I need to do today to get that started? And that's, I think, always where people's dreams stop, is just, that would be great someday. And
I think that's just not a good goal way of thinking, right? Yeah. If we think about, to get nerdy, SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound.
Yes.
If you don't have a time bound on it, someday can linger out there forever. Yes. I'm going to run that half marathon someday. That can be any. I'm not doing it tomorrow or today. So that's a good point there. So then there's also some lies that sometimes hold people back. Like some people think, hey, it's too complicated, it's too expensive. But when you break it down, things actually might be more simple than people think, right?
Yeah, I mean, people are able to learn how to do advanced surgeries and computer programming, engineering. They learned all that, and they probably didn't start that much smarter than everyone else. Right. They just did baby steps. So in my mind, most of our goals are not going to be nearly as hard as getting a medical degree.
Right.
Nope.
You just got to take a step and then another step. So if you break it down in small pieces, most things are very achievable.
Yeah. And you don't need perfection. Mm-mm. Like you don't need this it doesn't have to be super crazy complicated. You don't need to be perfect at it. You can just make progress towards it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think the people also get hung up. What if I miss one little step on my way to my goal? Well, then okay, you just keep going from there.
You're still farther along.
Don't go backwards.
Yeah, and that's what I want to say. So for those of us who are familiar, we've started using 90, which is essentially kind of like goal tracking in our office, right? Yep. And we went years and years of not having a great way to measure tasks or goals. And quite often we set a goal that's due in the next quarter, and we don't always finish it, right? But man, the amount of goals that we are accomplishing just because we now have a system to set them up and measure them, it's okay if you don't hit them all. It's so much more progress.
You got 80% to that goal, we're still farther along than we started, and you're in a better spot. Yes.
So just talk a little bit more about this willow tree that is in your world.
Yes.
Obviously, I've seen this, bud.
Yeah, it's what got me talking about, what wrote that blog. So we moved. And it's a beautiful property. It has a pond. And I was just envisioning it. And I was like, oh my gosh, a weeping willow, my childhood dream, would look perfect right by the pond.
Yeah.
And it loves being right by water.
Right.
Perfect.
And I just started talking about it to a few coworkers and friends. And I just looked online, where to buy a weeping willow tree or how to get a weeping willow tree. And that's when I learned you can propagate them. Yes. So you can cut off a snip of an existing branch, not enough to hurt it, just a couple feet. And within a couple of years, you could have almost a full-grown weeping willow tree.
That's awesome.
And supposedly, they're almost foolproof to propagate. So I reached out to an old neighbor who I knew had a weeping willow tree. Just sent her a message. I said, hey, how's it going? Told her what I wanted to do, not to be weird, but could I have a little snip of your
branch? Can I
branch?
come hack your tree?
She no longer lived there, no longer had the weeping willow tree. That wished me well.
I bet she would have if she was.
She said she absolutely would have. I'm like, who wants to have a baby weeping willow tree with me, right?
Right.
And I just kind of mentioned it a few times to coworkers and just put the word out there that I was in the search. And the next thing you know, good old Tony Hickson was like, well, I have a weeping willow tree.
Why didn't you just ask?
For 7 years. I did not know you had a weeping willow tree.
That's not like a normal intro. Hi, I'm Tony.
I have a weeping willow tree
in my backyard.
He brought it up because he never even knew I wanted one, right? And then
Pocahontas isn't talked about at the office enough.
No, and Tony, being a man of his word, brought me a weeping willow branch, and it sprouted roots and leaves, and
there you go.
The transplants in a year or so. And when it's alive, when it helps, when it's ready.
Yes. But that's the key, right? Is those little steps got the ball rolling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we're talking about here when it comes to any dreams or goals, is that it really just takes some momentum, right? You just got to get that started, and then it will continue to build on itself as we go along the way.
I think that's where we can tie it directly into finances and financial planning, because it's all about ambiguity and vague goals versus, concrete goals and clarity, right? Yeah. So if you keep your goal really vague, like, I want to be comfortable.
Yes.
So hard.
What would you do with that? Like, how can you, there's a lot of, that can mean a lot of different things.
I want to have enough money.
That can mean a lot to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the hardest parts about our job is helping our clients get specific with their goals. And I'm guilty of not doing a good job here. For me, I don't want to pry or make people uncomfortable. But you can't just say, oh, I want to retire early. Or people say like, oh, I want to buy a lake house. You could get a little house on Lake Erie for a couple $100,000, or we could do like a lake house in Tennessee for $2 million, right?
Yep.
And so you cannot make a vague goal a reality.
Right.
You got to get specific.
Or like you can't just say, hey, once I retire, I'm going to travel. Well, what do you mean? How many vacations are you taking? How much are you spending? How long are you going to be gone? Or I want to feel less stressed about money.
Yeah. Or even, I want to retire early.
What's early?
When were you going to retire?
Like tomorrow? What are we talking about? Yes.
So
those are all vagueness that really can be better defined if you spend some time to do it. And it becomes that big dream to be a more clarified dream, right? It's clearer. It has more definition to steps to get there. And that's the key, just taking it from a big pipe dream of someday and putting it into action steps. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the complexities of managing your wealth? At Hicks & Zerker Capital Management, we specialize in helping affluent families and individuals navigate the complex challenges of managing their finances. Wealth management is all about combining thoughtful financial planning with active investment management to help you reach your goals. Achieving your dreams requires careful planning, smart decision-making, and access to high-quality investments. That's where we come in. We integrate your financial goals with your core values, helping you visualize the possibilities your wealth can create for a secure future. If you're ready to take the next step, visit hzcapital.com/start. Again, that's hzcapital.com/start. Now let's get back to today's episode.
So how can we turn those dreams into those action steps? So let's get really practical with it. What do you start with?
Yes. The first step is better defining, right? The first action step is take that dream and add more clarity to it, more vision to it, so that, because in your head you may actually see it all, right? You saw the willow tree and everything there, but until you described it to others, no one else saw that full vision clear. So first step is define that.
Right.
Put the steps to it.
And the next, I would say, our job is really assigning a cost to that.
Right.
So the client has to describe what it is they want. We have to assign a cost to it, and then we have to help them prioritize it against their other goals. And if that seems in line where they've got an understanding of the cost, they understand how it ranks against their other goals, it's really our job to help advise them on, what do you need to save to get there? What tweaks do you need to do?
And then even better defining the timeline. Because once you know the cost and how it measures to other goals, you can then set an actual timeline to it. This is a realistic expectation of when it can be achieved. Because until you know the cost and kind of where it sits in your priorities, you don't even know when it really could come about.
Well, you bring up a great point, both of you. I think that one thing that is easy to forget is that goals don't exist in a vacuum. Right? So if you have goals and you have dreams and you have ideas, that is competing with other things, because it's not a lake house or whatever is not the only thing that matters. So you have to be able to, this is where I think working with an advisor really has a lot of help, because they can help you assign where this fits and how much is available to do everything and with everything else. It's not just doing the one thing.
Yeah, very few of us have enough money to really hit all of our dreams, right? It's just not real life for most people. And so if we can just sit down with someone or talk with a friend and figure out which goals align most really with my core values. And that's something we talk about a lot. Just because I want something to happen doesn't mean it should happen. What needs to happen to really create the life that I want?
Or maybe that dream evolves to be slightly different because you lined it up to your values. So maybe that lake house turns into additions to your current house because your real goal was just a central location for all of my kids. And you realize I actually have what I need if I do this and this. And so your dream shifts to be more in line with your values. Or, the idea isn't the first thing you dreamt may not be the final spot, but it may be better than what you first thought.
So as advisors, how do you keep track of progress on these dreams and these goals?
Well, sometimes it's just we track it in financial plans. So we figure out what the goal is, and then we calculate really how much you need to save or what you need to do to get there. And the nice thing about financial progress is it's really easy to measure.
Dollar, are you there? Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So you might have to tweak things under certain market conditions and such, but as long as you keep on meeting regularly and having discussions, it's easy to track.
Yeah. And then just always reaffirming, is this goal, this dream still the priority level that we had it at? Because something new may come up, and always just, like you said, just keeping that conversation going of, is this still the priority we need to be focused on?
And I think something that's also worth keeping in our minds is when you get whatever you need to do to actually achieve the goal, go do it.
Yeah.
You want it. It was important to you. And it's really easy to sit on a big lump of cash because it's nice and it's pretty and it's fun to sit there and look at it. But that doesn't go out and actually fulfill the goal that you had for yourself. It doesn't fulfill the thing that you were going to use to spend time with family or your spouse or traveling or buying the RV or whatever that is. Go do the dang thing.
Yeah,
right?
A lump of cash isn't going to pull your grandkids on a inner tube in the lake, right?
I know.
If that's what you've always dreamed of.
It's fun to look at, but it's really not that fun.
Doesn't do a lot.
So, anything else on goals, dreams?
No, I'll just always say, don't be afraid to share those dreams with those people close to you, because you may find they'll help motivate you to get that started.
Yeah.
I think that's the first step.
Or in the sense of Tony Hickson, they might just literally provide it to you. Because like people like help, people like getting engaged, but if they don't know how to help you, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. So keep dreaming. Dream at 120%.
There you go.
That's what I say. All right. Well, if you found any value in today's episode, subscribe to thewealthmindsetshow.com. Then you won't miss any episodes when we drop them. And don't forget to follow us on social media, where we'd love to stay in touch with you. And you can see new content and new episodes as they hit. And if you're interested in what we do at Hickson Zerker Capital Management, visit us at hzcapital.com. Otherwise, have a great week, and thank you for listening.
Talk to you later.
Thank you for joining us at the Wealth Mindset Show, where we tackle the complexities of finance and life planning to help you align your wealth with your values. We hope today's conversation provided value and clarity as you navigate your financial journey. Your hosts work for Hickson Zerker Capital Management, and all opinions expressed by them or any podcast guest are solely their own and do not reflect the opinions of Hickson Zerker Capital Management. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Clients of Hickson Zerker Capital Management may maintain positions in the securities discussed in this podcast. There is no guarantee that statements, opinions, or forecasts provided herein will prove to be correct. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Indices are not available for direct investment, and any investor attempting to mimic index performance would incur fees and expenses that could reduce returns. Securities investing involves risks, including the potential loss of principal, and there is no assurance that any investment plan or strategy will be successful.